This is one of my favourite algae cleaners in the world. It's a simple razor blade on a handle. You can pick these handles up for about £2 or £3 on Amazon, but they are insanely good when it comes to cleaning this kind of algae. The kind of algae which the little algae scrubber you've bought just don't cut it. See, all you do is put it along a few times and that algae is gone. Now, this is an inexpensive way of not having to spend 30 or 40 quid in your aquarium shop to buy a really expensive algae scrubber that doesn't even work as well as this. The blades will go rusty, especially if you use them in salt water. You'll probably only get 1 or 2 uses per blade, which is fine if you've got a big aquarium because that's a couple of pence per clean, which is actually still cheaper than if you bought an expensive algae scrubber. This 100 pack of razor blades only cost me £8.99. So you can see the savings there, you can see the value. There are some things in life which just make things so much easier, and especially in fish keeping, for me, it's the humble squeegee. Everyone knows how a squeegee works, and if you've worked in an aquarium fish shop, you'll know that this is one of the most essential pieces of aquarium kit. However, owners of aquariums in their home don't tend to see these in such a high value. But let me just tell you one thing. Squeegee is one of the top things that you should go out and buy right now if you don't own one. I see a lot of people cleaning their glass like this, with aquarium glass cleaner sprays and a towel. Well, that's fine for the polish that you want to do before you put a picture on Instagram, but it is not good for your daily routine because it takes forever. Doing this, it takes you less than 30 seconds to clean your entire aquarium, ready for the day. Now, tell me why you don't own a squeegee. If you don't own a squeegee, go ahead, go and buy one right now. Sometimes you have to bodge things to make them work or connect, and that's where keeping spares is really important. Whenever you buy a filter or an aquarium, or really any piece of aquarium related thing, you tend to get lots of extra stuff. At that time and point, you might not even think it's worth keeping, like these tank connectors and all sorts of brackets and things. However, the best thing to do is pretend you're a middle-aged man and just put them in a drawer somewhere because they may come in useful later. That's exactly what I have done, and that's exactly what I encourage you to do as well. It's also worth having some sort of backup pump for your aquarium and backup heater. I've got quite a few, obviously, because I do reviews, so I've got a whole bucket full of them. But you should have at least one backup filter or pump for your aquarium, because you never know when your one's going to break, or it may be such an emergency you don't have time to travel. If it's in your drawer or cupboard, you can switch it over straight away. Pipe holders are one of my essential things. You can see it in action. Have you ever tried to do a water change where you wedge your pipe work under your lighting or in the small gap in your glass and walk away from it only to find it a couple of minutes later on the floor, maybe even draining water into your flooring? This particular one is an old school fluval filter pipe holder. This one is from JBL. JBL actually make these and sell these to go over your aquarium and hold your pipe work. I highly recommend this kind of thing. The newer version from Fluval, again, comes with their filters, but I think you can buy them separately. I find these to be a little bit worse than the old school Fluval ones, but still very, very important. The good thing about these as well is you can just leave them in place and reconnect your pipe every time you want to do a water change. So absolutely try and pick something like this up. I used to hate algae magnets. I don't know why, I just had a thing against them. I didn't think they did a very good job. I didn't really see the purpose of them. But since having used this Floaty 2 by JBL, I am completely changed. Now, algae magnets, if you're not aware, have a scour on the inside and you drag it across your glass to clean the glass. Pretty simple. Now, they don't always give the cleanest finish, and they're not always designed to get off the most stubborn algae. They're really for a daily use to keep that powdery algae off your aquarium glass. And that is where they come into their own. Because rather than having to put your hand into your aquarium every single day, if you want to keep it fresh, all you do is give it a quick couple of goes over with this and you're back to looking fresh and clean. I'm only 5'5" in height, and tanks these days are getting taller and taller. This one I can't even see over the top of, and that's a problem when it comes to cleaning or accessibility. I'm not the only one that suffers this problem, and this is something I highly recommend. A stool. Simple but effective. I got this one from Aldi for about a £5. What this allows me to do is put my foot on it, and now I can see in my aquarium. It's really ingenious, and there's a lot of people that don't have this for their aquarium maintenance. I don't know why, it's really strange, but highly recommended is a stool. I think the adage goes, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. So you absolutely must have extra treatments and stuff that you need for your aquarium. It's no good running out in the middle of the day or in the middle of the weekend and trying to find a shop or go online to get next day delivery. The best thing to have is it in your cupboard or on your shelf. This is especially true when it comes to medicines like anti-parasite or anti-fluke. I also like to keep a small selection for my reef tank of calcium and magnesium crystals, just in case I need to dose it during the day when I'm doing my water testing. I can't stress enough how important it is just to have a little shelf with all of the stuff that your aquarium may need. Prevention is better than cure, in my opinion, when it comes to this kind of thing, and it may cost you a little bit of outlay initially to build up your little shelf, but it's well worth it when disaster happens. Yes, they're expensive, and yes, they do take time to do, but test kits are an incredibly important part of keeping any aquarium, including freshwater. You can see here I've got all the ones that tick the main boxes, and these are liquid test kits because they're more accurate. Why do you need test kits? Well, as a fish keeper, you're not really keeping fish, you're keeping water quality, and to keep water quality you need to know what your aquarium water is doing. The only way you can do that is by testing it. Therefore, you need test kits. But yeah, there's an expense to it. These are around £12 to £15 a test, so we could be at £80 worth of test kits here. But I'd rather spend £80 keeping my water quality good, or at least knowing if my water quality is getting bad, than losing my fish, which could be £80 each. One day the power is going to go out. It just happens. I don't think there's anyone on this planet who hasn't had a power cut. And this is where this little item comes in really handy. It is a battery powered air pump. Now it may seem insignificant when you don't need it. It will sit on a shelf, dusty, doing nothing. But when that power cut comes, you won't be running around like a headless chicken. You won't be worried that your fish are all going to die from lack of oxygen, because all you'll have to do is go to your cupboard, get out your battery powered air pump and put it onto your aquarium. Then you can sit there cool as a cucumber, knowing that all you have to do is wait for the power to come back on. The good thing about these as well is they can be charged using a battery power pack. So if you've got one of those big holiday phone charger things which have USB sockets, you can actually charge it from that as well. People have a tendency to try and buy the cheapest thing possible, and when I worked in a fish shop I noticed that included pipe work. They never really bought more than they needed, and I always thought this was a bit of a mistake, because someday you might need to either use a bit yourself on a filter that you're setting up. So like here where I've put a pump on here, I've cut some pipe work down and connected it up like that. And it's always handy to have spare pipework laying around, even just for water changes. Maybe one day you need to run it somewhere differently, or put it into your garden and water your plants, and that's where extra pipework is always useful. So they're just some essential items that I have in my fish house, which I don't actually think I could run a fish house without, because they're just so essential for me to go about my daily routine, like a squeegee or some pipework or a stool to even reach my aquarium. But these are some things that people don't actually think of. So if you're one of those, then I hope you've enjoyed the video, because it was for you, and I hope it has helped to improve your quality of life when it comes to keeping a fish tank. Once again, thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, please leave a like and also subscribe to my channel if you're not a channel subscriber already.